Please be seated. Family and friends of the graduates, honored guests, faculty, staff, commencement speakers, graduating seniors, award winners, and PhDs. Welcome to the commencement exercises of the Sociology Department at the University of California at Berkeley. My name is David Harding, and it's my privilege and pleasure to be the chair of the most fantastic sociology department in the world, the Berkeley Department of Sociology. Sociology Commencement is particularly special. Many of our graduates are the first in their family to earn a college degree, which is an especially momentous occasion for them and for their families. To support everyone's experience, I request that you please silence your cell phones, stay in your seats, and keep the aisles clear. Please refrain from blocking others' views of the ceremony, and please refrain from preventing others from hearing the program. We want all of our graduates and their families to hear their names as they walk across the stage. Thank you for your cooperation. As the department concludes its 79th year in this university, we have over 300 graduating seniors. They arrived here at Berkeley via over 300 different pathways. They leave with at least one thing in common: a shared sociological vision that enables them to see the world as it really is, and thus empowers them to be effective agents of positive change in the many fields to which they will contribute in the future. Joining me on the stage are department faculty and our speakers. I will quickly introduce them. We know you love them. Please reserve your cheering until the end. In the back row, on my left, graduate speaker Xavier Durham, undergraduate speaker Vivian Lee, professors Jill Bacorn, Luis Flores, and Marina Romani. In the front row on my left, our keynote speaker, Dr. Alex Hanna, professors Danya Lagos, Joanna Reed, and Lale Bebehanian. In the back row on my right, graduate speaker Emily Ruppel, professors Kristen Harknett, Eliza Brown, John Kaiser, Jeff Lockhart, and Calvin Morrill. In the front row on my right, professors Martine Sanchez-Jankowski, Susan Hyde, Heather Havman, Neil Fligstein, and Leslie Salzinger. Our department is renowned the world over for the accomplishments of our faculty and students. In recent rankings of both U.S. departments of sociology and sociology departments around the world, Berkeley was again ranked #1. Our faculty have won some of the most prestigious awards in the country, including membership in the American Academy of Arts and Sciences and the National Academy of Sciences. Certainly, the books and articles that our faculty write win major awards, but more important than the awards are the questions they ask and the careful research that they do that often challenges conventional thinking. The department's research and teaching urges attention to the most compelling questions of our time. How are we to understand the causes and consequences of enduring social and economic inequalities? The contemporary politics of immigration and the experiences of immigrants and their children. The rise of the massive US prison system and its disparate consequences for different individuals, families, and communities. Changes in the labor market and the shift to more and more precarious types of work. The effects of new social media on real-world social organization. How gender is changing in the 21st century. The housing crisis and gentrification, the climate emergency, or the massive social movements and organized reactions to them sweeping the world. However, it is not only the research and accomplishments of our faculty that have brought renown to the department. It is equally the achievements of our students. Berkeley PhDs consistently win awards for their books and articles and shape the sociology departments of colleges and universities across the nation and around the world. And our BAs populate the ranks of innumerable professions, bringing with them the skills and special perspective of Berkeley sociology. That special perspective is profoundly shaped by the fact that Berkeley is a public university, and it is a public university in the state of California. Look around you and you will see that our graduates and their families reflect much of the magnificent variety of the people of California. The mission of public universities is simple. It is to educate the qualified children of all the people in the state, to bring the high-achieving children of janitors, nurses, aides, and dishwashers into classrooms with the children of doctors, lawyers, and community organizers. It is to make higher education accessible to students who are parents, who are differently abled, who are undocumented, who decide to return to school later in life, who may have been formerly incarcerated. The public mission of UC Berkeley profoundly enriches what our students bring to the classroom and what they learn in the course of their university education. As we acknowledge and appreciate what the graduates sitting before you have accomplished to arrive at this day, and to anticipate with excitement all the wonderful things they will contribute to society in the years ahead, I hope that we can pledge to fight to maintain accessible and excellent public higher education for the generations who will follow. In these times, more than ever, we must work together to ensure that the state and the University of California keep its promises to its people. We begin the program with the undergraduate address. Our speaker today is Vivian Lin. Please join me in welcoming Vivian to the podium.
Good morning, everyone. Standing here today feels like standing on top of a mountain. But the truth is, my life has never been about reaching just one peak. It has been a journey of crossing mountains, one after another. And sometimes, in between those climbs, I have stood still, exhausted, and uncertain, quietly asking myself, can I keep going? I was born in a small village in China, where girls were not encouraged to dream beyond the home. Education was often reserved for boys. But my dad, he believed in me. And then, when I was still young, he passed away. With him, the only voice that told me I could have a future disappeared. My dreams of going to the top school were folded away quietly, like something too fragile to touch. When I immigrated to the United States, I could barely speak English. Every conversation felt like a wall I didn't know how to climb. I felt invisible everywhere. But there was one thing I could still do. I could read. So I read hundreds of books. Books became my way back to myself. They reminded me that knowledge still belonged to me if I was brave enough to reach for it. Then one day, I heard a sentence that changed my life. Even you are a Hmong, you can still go back to school here in the United States. That was the first time I heard the words re-entry student. And for the first time, I felt something open inside me, like my story was not over yet. At Berkeley, sociology didn't just teach me how to succeed in school. It changed how I see the world. It taught me that our struggles are not just personal. They are shaped by invisible social forces, by culture, inequality, expectations, and systems we often cannot see. It gave me language for my own story, and maybe for many of yours too. Because behind every cap and gown here today, there is a story we cannot fully see. Some of us work jobs. Some of us raise families. Some of us carry doubt, fear, or loneliness. But still, we are here. That matters. Today, it's not just about finishing a degree. It is about becoming someone who understands the world and feels responsible for it. As sociology graduates, we have learned to see what others overlook, to question what others accept, and to care deeply about other people's lives. So, wherever we go next, I hope we carry that with us, the courage to ask hard questions, the compassion to see others fully, and the belief that change is possible, because I stand here today as a living proof of something very simple. No matter your background, your age, your accent, or your circumstances, you can rise. If I can do it, you can do it too. Congratulations, class of 2026. Go Bears.
Thank you, Vivian. And now our graduate student address will be shared by two of our PhD graduates, Xavier Durham and Emily Ruppel.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming. It's a pleasure to be here in community with you all, and congrats to all of our graduates today. Originally published in the Berkeley Journal of Sociology in 1970, Douglas Davidson's The Furious Passage of the Black Graduate Student examines the Black graduate experience within the Department of Sociology at UC Berkeley. Specifically, he notes how isolating it can be to navigate a liberal university, an experience shared by many groups on campus. On one hand, he acknowledges the privileges that a Berkeley education yields as students aim for graduate school or careers. On the other, students not only have to align their worldview with the department, but must also abide by their boundaries, what puzzles, questions, and even people matter. As one could imagine, these boundaries come with their own problems and can even reproduce the very things it claims to fight. What this means is that even though many of us enjoy the privileges of UC Berkeley, that is not without affecting our understanding of the world. Discipline's discipline, after all. This identity crisis exists even as things shift over time, or at the very least reorganize, where a degree of injustice is acceptable and change must have its limits to maintain our current order. I do not bring up this article to jab at the department that I am leaving. Instead, I offer this piece to encourage a critical reflection on the role that sociology plays in how we think of the world and what we choose to accept, both within and beyond the bounds of our research, professional goals, and legacy. I do not need to emphasize pressing realities like deepening economic inequality, expanding state and corporate surveillance, or raging genocides in Sudan, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Palestine. But what I do need to emphasize is that sociology can encourage us to unite for changes that are people-centered and revolutionary. The key word here, though, is can. Because by the same token, sociology can also act as a smokescreen for power, calling for objective science long before pushing for any change. And where there is smoke, there is fire, because these calls risk upholding power as it currently exists. Indeed, this relationship between our discipline and power is not a conspiracy, nor my personal projection, but a reminder that none of us are immune to unexamined biases, popular content, or outright propaganda. Internal vigilance and awareness is just as crucial as the eye we turn towards the problems and communities that we care about. More still, we must not be content with just documenting things as they happen, because as geographer Catherine McKittrick reminds us, quote, "Description is not liberation," end quote. So, what is to be done? I do not stand here like I have everything figured out, clearly. I do not strike the perfect balance between academic rigor and pushing for my vision of justice. But this demand for growth does not deter me, nor should it deter you as you enter the next stage of your lives. Find peace in late Black feminist critic Bell Hook's assertion that hope is a discipline. It requires intentionality, commitment, and a desire to constantly grow as we struggle. We are all capable of meeting this demand because we have pursued a degree that asks more of us from the very beginning. And because we must do more, we can achieve more, so long as we hold to the lessons we learned, not as something that can't be questioned, but as a compass that points us in the right direction out of a world that prides itself on dividing us. I ask myself, and you, my fellow sociologists, to sit with this tension, to ask what their education is for and how they are using their sociological imagination to craft an existence created for everyone. Such a call is daunting, I know. Yet, it also pushes us to think beyond the realm of what is possible and instead ask what could be if given the room to make mistakes and eventually thrive. Thank you. And power to the AFSCME strikers.
Hi, everyone. During my second week of grad school, our professor Dylan Riley shared some advice on getting through a PhD. His opening words stayed with me. The people who succeed at this aren't the most brilliant ones. They're the most stubborn ones. These words became a mantra for my academic career, but they apply to all kinds of non-academic paths as well. In moments like this one, a commencement ceremony, I often feel like I'm getting away with something. Like, you wouldn't be applauding me if you knew how much terrible work I've produced, or how many rejections I've gotten, tens if not hundreds of professional rejections by now. You wouldn't want to clap if you knew about the PhD programs I didn't get into, or the academic idols who never answered my emails, or if you read the journal rejection letters saying my project doesn't contribute to sociology. But we all got those letters. If you're not getting criticized, if you're not getting rejected, it's because you're not putting your work out there. Difficulty, dissatisfaction, and rejection are much more common parts of the graduate school experience, and frankly, the human experience, than triumph. If we're here today, it's because we learned to enjoy this difficulty, at least to some degree. We learned to lean into stubbornness and cultivate it as a virtue. When I start my faculty position, I'll pass on Dylan's advice to my own graduate and undergraduate students. My colleagues graduating today may do the same for their students, because that's the vocation to which we've committed: the intergenerational transmission of ideas and the transformation of these ideas through dialogue. I love this about teaching, the imprint of every mentor I've ever had on my sociological practice, and the echoes of their thinking in what I share with my students and what they'll share with their students, not to mention their friends and families. Because sociological ideas are only rarely transmitted in the classroom and more commonly debated in the workplace, the activist collective, over the dinner table, and on the street. Of course, I'm thinking especially of the imprint of my PhD advisor, Michael Buravoy. Michael was killed in a hit and run in February 2025, and many of you here today have grieved alongside me over the past year. I'll be hooded today by Leslie Salzinger, herself one of Michael's former PhD students, who stepped up as my dissertation chair after his death. If I tried to sum up everything that Michael taught me, I'd have to hold you all hostage in this auditorium for several years, and I'd get in trouble with campus for that. But I want to say a couple of words about what he believed sociology could accomplish, because I think here in 2026, we all need his optimism more than ever. Michael believed that sociologists could change the world, not by ourselves, but through involvement in progressive communities. Through what he called public sociology, we participate in chains of translation and dialogue, which link social scientific research to the work being done by journalists, artists, legislators, community organizers, and others capable of acting more directly. Most of all, we share sociological insights with our own undergraduate students, who will go on to enter these and many more positions. After Michael died, I got emails from former undergraduate students who apply what they learned in his courses as civil rights lawyers, nonprofit administrators, teachers, labor organizers, and more. When we adopt Michael's vision of sociologists' embeddedness in progressive collectives, we don't have to convince ourselves that our own work will have an outsized impact, an academic narcissism that we're all familiar with. But nor can we lose sight of the ultimate moral stakes of social science. It's as Rabbi Tarfon wrote, "You are not obligated to complete the work, but nor are you free to abandon it." Michael made me believe that the world could be radically transformed. After his death, his optimism is the attribute I've tried the hardest to hold on to. Michael's optimism was never a naive optimism. He spent his entire career making sense of global atrocities, most recently the genocide in Gaza. It was a sociological optimism, an optimism paired with stubbornness, the same stubbornness I learned from Dylan and others in graduate school. We continue the work of social transformation, even and especially when it's hard. Thank you, and congratulations to everyone.
Thank you, Xavier and Emily. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the keynote speaker, Dr. Alex Hanna. Dr. Hanna is the Director of Research at the Distributed AI Research Institute. Her work examines how new computational technologies, such as AI and machine learning, exacerbate racial, gender, and class inequality through their data practices and their effects on labor. She also works in the area of social movements, focusing on the dynamics of anti-racist campus protest in the US and Canada. Dr. Hanna holds a BS in computer science and mathematics and a BA in sociology from Purdue University, and an MS and a PhD in sociology from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Dr. Hanna is the co-author of The AI Con, a book about AI and the hype around it, and also runs the Mystery AI Hype Theater 3000 series, playfully and wickedly tearing apart AI hype via live stream and podcast. She has published widely in top-tier venues across the social sciences and computer science. Dr. Hanna has been a fellow at the Virginia Center for the Creative Arts, serves as a senior fellow at the Center for Applied Transgender Studies, and has been featured at the Cal Academy of Sciences. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Alex Hanna.
All right. Oh, this is falling. Let's see if that works. Great. Thank you so much for inviting me here to speak today. We'll just roll with it. Dr. Harding, the department staff, and the rest of the Berkeley Sociology Department. It's a massive honor and one that I do not take lightly. So first, I want to celebrate you. You've had a massive accomplishment, so give yourselves a hand. And let's hear it for the parents, siblings, cousins, chosen family, and all the beloved who got you here today. Give it up for them, grads. So this speech almost didn't happen today. Ask Me 3299, the union that represents 40,000 service and healthcare workers around the University of California, fought and threatened to strike to afford healthcare and housing. Luckily, AFSCME kept the pressure on and won higher wages and lower healthcare costs for its members. So, yeah. So give it up for these workers who make the university run. You've graduated from one of the greatest universities on this earth, a feat to which precious few achieve. This is a gift, and one I hope you accept with humility and grace. I would know. I applied to Cal twice. Once in 2003 for the undergraduate computer science program, and once in 2009 to this department. I was rejected both times, but hey, look at me now. I'm a proud graduate of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Go Badgers. Back when I applied, Berkeley and Wisconsin sociology maintained a rivalry of who would get first in the department rankings. These rankings are wholly based on vibes, but professors absolutely love them, sorry. And high-ranking campus administrators just go nuts for them. Traditionally, Wisconsin accepted keen students who wanted to work in statistics, and especially in the demography centers, while Berkeley would take on the qualitative researchers, those willing to brave long trips to ethnographic field sites. The late Eric Olin Wright, who passed away a few years ago after I graduated in 2016, had a bar graph on the door to his office, which compared the lopsided percentage of Wisconsin PhD grads who did quantitative degrees versus those at Berkeley who did quantitative degrees, and it was very lopsided. It also might have been a subtle dig at his dear friend, Michael Burvoy, who was a member of this department who we lost last year. But y'all did it, and although I only know a few of you, I'm very proud of your accomplishments, and so are the family members who you have here today. So let's give it up to these grads. We can't celebrate them enough. So my father didn't come to my graduation. I'd come out as a trans woman 3 years prior in 2013, and he was feeling some kind of a way about it. His absence when I sat where you are today, chafed and burned. And my sisters and mom made excuses for him. Yachty, he's old-fashioned. He's having a hard time accepting it. He's from a different generation. Don't be mad at him, habibti. And khalas, I moved past it. In the speech I gave to my department, I thanked my sisters, Mariana and Sandy, my mom, I thanked my advisor, Dr. Pamela Oliver, I thank the incredible department staff, I thank fellow travelers in my cohort, I thank my teammates in Madison Roller Derby, including my friend Critical Tits, who came with their partner. My father died 3 years ago, or rather, it will be 3 years, 3 days from now, May 20th. Like Professor Burvoy, also in a car accident. In the days after his death, I moved through life in a dutiful haze. I managed at a distance and was a capable executor of his funeral rites and post-life planning. It was a coping mechanism, yes, but it was also a means of gaining enough space to grieve for someone who I wasn't willing to grant a fawning hagiography, to ignore how much it hurt. And that had to be far away from the keening and beating of chests of women clad in black and kind of keening at Arab funerals. As sociologists, we're found to say that we have a sociological imagination, that we connect those personal problems to the structural. That urge to connect the two also runs the other way, to understand how structural problems can be read and narrated in ways that are deeply personal. So we come to the first theme of this speech, grief. Now, I'm not a sociologist of emotions, but I am a sociologist of technology, social movements, and politics. That means I can talk about how much grief we have seen on the internet in our lifetimes. It's enough to displace oceans. I started my career studying how Egyptians use social media to organize others into actions through platforms like Facebook and Twitter. My master's thesis studied the April 6th movement, which used some elements of Facebook to help publicize a demonstration on April 6, 2008. Hundreds died 3 years later in the attacks on protesters in Tahrir Square and elsewhere, the shaheed, or martyrs, of the 2011 Egyptian revolution. We know about the grief of others through the internet. We only see such grief, like that of Khalid Nabhan, who became famous after his granddaughter Reem was murdered by an Israeli airstrike in November 2023. And his grief became our grief. Khalid carried, kissed, and doted over her lifeless body, saying, Ruh al-Ruh, soul of my soul, over and over again. Sometimes we are only allowed to inhabit that grief. Sometimes we are allowed to inhabit that grief, but sometimes that grief is obscured by numbers, and often that grief is denied by others for political reasons, such as the case with the 800,000 killed in the Tigray region of Ethiopia, the largest genocide of the 21st century so far. But the images of that genocide do not traffic as far as the genocide in Gaza. Closer to home, we grieve ISIS' campaign of state violence, including ripping of families from each other, the assassinations by gunfire in the street in broad daylight, and the deaths of at least 29 others in ISIS detention facilities this year alone, and of myriad other incarnations of state violence. The grief, or I should say griefs that we know because images and videos that traffic online, which have unfortunately become pedestrian. Who is legitimate to mourn? That legitimacy is written all over the place. It is written on the walls and on buildings, on street signs, and on university auditoriums. My brilliant collaborator, Dr. Caleb Dawson, Berkeley Sociology PhD of 2023, and my team have written about the struggles by Black students, faculty, and staff, and their allies to rename the Social Sciences Building, and how up to recently it was named for David Prescott Barrows, who was a colonizer of the educational system of the Philippines, a white supremacist, and a former president of the UC system. In a 2024 blog post for Sociologists for Palestine, Michael Burvoy wrote about the status of sociology in addressing the genocide in Gaza, and our professional association, the American Sociological Association, addressing a resolution to call for ceasefire in the occupied Palestinian territories. In it, he rehashes a debate between sociologist Howard Becker and Alvin Goulner in the 1960s. Becker, in a piece titled "Which Side Are We On?", which was a speech he gave, and he's addressing this to sociologists. His answer is that sociologists typically take the side of the underdog. And Goulner responds, however, and says, quote, "It's not always clear who is the underdog." And this is Burvoy quoting Goulner. "Sociologists are their own side too. That is, they have their own interests." Burvoy concludes, "For Goulner, the fundamental value is to minimize unnecessary suffering." That leaves open many difficult questions, as Burvoy adroitly notes, but does not resolve. And I will expand on that. In using the term, quote, minimize, the question of quantification of suffering and of attendant grief come into play. And what types of suffering are, quote, necessary? Goulner doesn't resolve this question, only to suggest that suffering by people who are either superordinate or subordinate in society, oppressor and oppressed, ought to be reduced. And that's not satisfying to me. Black feminists like Patricia Hill Collins and Kimberly Crenshaw have taught us that where we sit vis-a-vis the matrix of domination actually matters. The term intersectionality, which Crenshaw coined, has become muddled, to say the least. Like the terms, quote, DEI or woke, alt-right detractors have aimed to discredit them. But they've also been muddled by well-meaning allies. My friend, information scholar Anna Lauren Hoffman, writes about how intersectionality has come simply to mean something like a collection of how one's identities add up to greater oppression. But that ignores Crenshaw's metaphor of the basement. In US law, Crenshaw argues you can only be discriminated against as a woman or as black, but you cannot be discriminated as both at the same time. Those who occupy both get relegated to the, quote, basement of social hierarchies. And I'm also glad Xavier brought up Catherine McKendrick, who talks about black geographies. Which means suffering is structural. It is not symmetric. Sociologists themselves have a duty to understand who is in the basement and how to get them free. These are big questions. What does it mean to reduce human suffering? What does it mean to live a moral life? Who and what am I living and striving towards? These are questions that you ought to revisit over and over again. Luckily, as sociology grads, you have some of the best tools that I know of to address them. But it doesn't mean that it'll be easy. That brings me to my second theme, struggle. Now, before I was a sociologist, as Dr. Harding said, I got a degree in computer science at Purdue University. And I've always been a computer nerd. I took apart my family's desktop computer when I was 10. I had permission to do it, don't worry. When I was 16, I took apart another desktop computer and kept it stripped down to bare metal, all sharp edges and alarmingly loud computer fans. And I installed Linux on it. And with the aid of a close friend, I got it working. Getting the sound to work on it, not to mention the Wi-Fi, was a dark art. But working directly with the computer taught me how to do things like use the Linux command line. Knowing how to do those things like making the computer copy and remove files by typing in a bunch of commands was one of those skills that they didn't tell us that we needed experience with before getting to campus. Fast forward 20 years, last week I moved a 7-foot server rack into my living room. I mean, if you can do it, if you have the space, I'd suggest it, and are willing to take on the power bills. I mean, I got it for cheap. It was $125 off Craigslist. I picked up a $35 Dell PowerEdge server that is supposed to slide in and out like a kitchen drawer, except I needed to order the rails. I nabbed some unused networking hardware from a community space and dusted off an old monitor. And I'm trying to build my own media server because I'm sick of using stuff like Spotify and YouTube Music. I also want to train much smaller language models for Coptic, what we call in the language itself, Metrem and Kimi, literally language of people of the black soil, for an indigenous language revival collective I'm part of. When I press the power button on the server, booting it up sounds like I'm sitting on the window seat of a wing of a commercial airliner. Unfortunately, the whole thing throws an error that I think has to do with the spare hard drive I installed in it. And I'm frustrated, but at the same time, I'm elated. I'm happy because I'm struggling. I'm learning about a process. I'm engaged in the process of debugging, prodding hardware, looking through online manuals and troubleshooting guides. When I talk about struggle, I'm talking about the necessary frictions that one has to encounter when you're learning something new. That friction is what you experience when a new concept or skill doesn't connect to the mental model of how you think the world works. Once you make the connection, that aha moment, then your mental model has been updated. A new link has been made from point A to B, from typing a command into a terminal to drag and dropping a file from a desktop to a folder. I learned a bunch about how this works from Greg Wilson, a programming educator who helped start Software Carpentry, a group that teaches computer programming and software engineering worldwide. One thing he helped me make sense of was how people learn coding. His book, Teaching Tech Together, is a classic for anyone who teaches, and not just in coding and computer science. This whole talk of friction, of course, is about AI. When I say AI, I'm going to put it in air quotes the first time, but imagine there's some scare quotes around it. AI is a marketing term. This is what we say in our book, The AI Con. And it's helpful to be more specific about what is being automated and talk about things like chatbots, which automate the generation of synthetic text, and then image generators. Chatbots remove friction from us. That friction is necessary for us to learn, to understand, to remain curious, and to develop necessary skills. Generative AI removes that friction for a fee, to be paid to OpenAI or Microsoft or Anthropic. Now, I won't sugarcoat it. The job market is not looking great for folks who just graduated. It's not surprising to you, sorry. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York reported that in 2024, the unemployment rate for computer engineering and computer science were 7.9 and 7.7% respectively. But sociology grads have an unemployment rate of 4.6, so better, but slightly higher than the overall rate of 4.2%. In computer science, bosses are confident that they can automate entry-level jobs by replacing junior engineers with code generation tools, which I guess you can try. But more so, if you don't hire any junior engineers, you won't have any senior engineers, to quote tech influencer and comedian Alberta Tech. AI has been the bane of our existence since late 2022, when OpenAI released ChatGPT, and y'all don't like it either. Check out the new grads at University of Central Florida, how they responded to their commencement speaker, Gloria Caulfield, and her response to them saying, "The rise of artificial intelligence is the new industrial revolution." The grads boo unanimously, timidly at first, rising to a crescendo. Someone yells, "AI sucks!" After a nervous laugh, she says, only a few years ago, AI was not a factor in our lives," to absolutely raucous cheers, claps, and fist bumps. And I should say, I also saw a video this morning of the same happening to Eric Schmidt, the former chair of the board of Google at University of Arizona. So the kids are all right, including y'all. Not that you're all kids, apologies. Let's be clear, this is less about what the technology can do and more about what employers think it can do and what kinds of workplaces they want to engender. In their essay, "Do I Belong in Tech Anymore?", design engineer Kai Decker writes about quitting their job and dealing with burnout of encountering synthetic text in the workplace. It's worth quoting at length. So, quote, "You join a meeting with a coworker. Your coworker has enabled an AI tool to automatically take notes and summarize the meeting. They do not ask for consent to turn it on. The tool mischaracterizes what you discuss. Documents in code are being generated faster than team members can review. You get the feeling that most people have stopped reading altogether. Organizational leadership has mandated that each person adopt new tools to, quote, up-level themselves and their team," end the block quote. Kai follows through with what goes through their head when each of these thoughts arose. Quote, "I encountered each of these scenarios over the past few years, and each one left me wondering, do I raise an issue about AI here? Do I ask my coworker to disable their note-taking tool? Do I allow them to record me? Where does the data go? Who is reading it? Do we retain knowledge in the same way without manual note-taking? Would initiating these discussions result in interpersonal stress? Should I just let things slide? Would I become known as a difficult coworker for pushing back on AI use? Does any of this really matter? Does anyone really care?" End quote. This reminds me of a quote from writer and theorist Sarah Ahmed in her book, Living a Feminist Life. Quote, "When you expose a problem, you pose a problem. It might then be assumed that the problem would go away if you would just stop talking about it, or you would go away." The modern corporate university has been giving you a lot of mixed messages around AI. And why is that? Information scholar and organizer Dan Green, writing in the American Association of University Professors magazine Academe, discusses the 6 functions of AI in his article, "What Does AI Do?" Of these, I want to focus and jam on 4. First, AI promises to automate the laborious work of teaching at a time when the cost of other goods and services has increased. It's still so pesky to pay all of those teaching assistants, adjunct faculty, and professors. What if we could just automate their jobs? Second, AI promises to grant students their credentials as quickly as possible. If you're taking a 5-class load and you could shunt some of that work to a chatbot, the temptation is very strong. Dan, following sociologist Tressie McMillan Cotton in her book Lower Ed, points out that, quote, the privatization of higher ed pushes all of our, Tressie's book is called Lower Ed. I think I said higher ed. The privatization of higher ed pushes all of our institutions to work more like the for-profits we professionals deride as diploma mills. Third, AI grants a kind of legitimacy to the institution. Like a few years ago when every dang university started a data science program, including the move to consolidate a number of different programs under a single school at this school. Universities are starting AI departments, majors, and certificates. As sociologists, we know what this is, and I'm looking at Neil over here. It's institutional isomorphism. Institutions of higher learning do things that other institutions are doing, not because of any particular market pressure, but because of FOMO, fear of missing out. They don't want to get left behind. Lastly, as state funding for higher ed has dried up in great universities, systems like this one, universities have become more committed to maintaining investment portfolios which maximize return. Unfortunately, 75% of the global economy is tied up with AI investment. Both public and private universities sit on major endowments. Cal's is at $7 billion. Fund managers would be running afoul of their fiduciary duty if they didn't invest in AI. This doesn't paint a very optimistic of the future of higher ed. But the answer is not more AI. The answer is, as Dan says, very boring. Quote, small classes, cheap or free tuition, well-resourced students. The remedy is simple but difficult. True federal investment in higher education would necessarily tax revenue from the private wealth financing the AI bubble, or whatever comes next, and redirect it to those public goods or that make an educated society possible in the first place. End quote. In other words, stuff we've known for ages. And I'm very proud to be a graduate solely of public institutions. I'm here to tell you something that is very valuable in struggle. I'm here to tell you that there is something very valuable in struggle, that there is something very valuable in friction. Despite the greatest desires of the neoliberal university, the pressures of the corporate world, and the publish or perish culture of academic publishing, friction is good. Friction can be pleasurable, if not frustrating in the moment. Friction is how you develop a sense of taste, of what it takes to labor through a difficult text, to contextualize and situate a concept that you're unfamiliar with. Friction is slowness. As writer and thinker Tony Cade Bambara reminds us, quote, not all speed is movement. Automation technologies like generative AI follow in the tradition of other automation technologies, like in the decades-old analysis by Harry Braverman. The move towards post-war production has led to more atomization of what our jobs consist of. A world of so-called AI automation is not one of fully automated luxury communism, but of carving out smaller pieces of what jobs ought to be, jobs without dignity. Are using these tools taking away from the, quote, grunt work? No, this is the work, and we deserve dignity. That brings me to my last theme, joy. As I was leaving the Valkyries game on Sunday, go Valks! I'm all in on the Valks, I'm sorry. I was talking to my friend April Martin about this speech, and I said, I'm not sure I can talk about joy. April, who has a master's degree from journalism from Cal, and the word joy actually tattooed on her fingers, told me, your life is full of joy. And she's right. The world kind of sucks. You may have started your degree or went to high school in the throes of a massive pandemic, a mass death and disabling event. Then 2 years later, you came into a world in which the worst people in the world with the most money in the world told you that your job would be replaced and you would no longer be necessary. We cannot forget the genocides in Gaza and Tigray and the simmering war in Iran initiated by Israel and the US. But grief can also plant the seeds of joy, of finding connection to others. Think of the mutual aid networks that sprang up during the first days of the pandemic, networks of shared resilience, not charity. Human-to-human relationships largely elude automation, as sociologist Alison Pugh writes about in her book, The Last Human Job. Pugh spent the last few years studying chaplains, nurses, therapists, and others who connect to people in their most intimate moments. This is what she calls connective labor, the work of seeing the other. But certain types of automation and a drive to optimize everything under the sun puts that critical connective tissue at stake. My co-author and collaborator, Emily M. Bender, and I started our accidental podcast 4 years ago called Mystery AI Hype Theater 3000, and I start every episode with this goofy voice in which I say, where we seek catharsis in AI hype, we find the worst of it and pop it with the sharpest needles we can find. We broadcast our recording live on Twitch, a live streaming service with a built-in chat function. One of the cool things about this is that it's built a community that's formed around the podcast. People in the chat say that they're sick of AI at work. People discuss how it's ruining their corner of science or making computer programming truly unfun. An unexpected community, but certainly not an unwelcome one. I'm finding joy in the ways people are rejecting big tech. The girls are building cyber decks, little computers built out of tiny components as an alternative to expensive laptops from Apple or Dell. This is also happening as the drive to build hyperscale data centers is making computer memory, hard disks, and and other computer hardware very expensive. Zines are also very back in a big way, physical media too, as an alternative to streaming services like Spotify. I bought a cassette at a concert last month. I don't even own a cassette player anymore. Cross-partisan struggles and wins against data centers used for AI production are bringing me joy. There's at least 69 jurisdictions blocking new data center construction in the US. The first one in Ohio wasn't in a liberal city center. It was in a rural township, a conservative area close to where my mom has lived for the past 20 years. Meanwhile, $64 billion in data center projects have been blocked or delayed. As political philosopher Olufemi Otawu says often online, I do not regret to inform you that we are going to win. But the only way we're going to get there is together. I leave you with some thoughts from librarian Mackenzie Brooks. In a recent essay she published called, quote, AI Feelings, in it, she laments the grief of being forced to work in between a rock and a hard place by the use of AI in her classrooms. And this is also a longer quote. She says, quote, "It sucks for me, that feeling of being bottom of the list, of wasting my time, grading something that a student won't bother spending time on. It sucks to know I've contributed to this mess anytime I've had a student publish work online. It sucks that I think I'm stupid enough that I can't tell. And it sucks for them too. They're overscheduled, they're overwhelmed, they're afraid of failure, they're all aware of the crappy job market and the cost of their education. Why would they risk having a bad grade? They're not ignorant either. They can sense what is happening to them. That's part of the reason they end up in my class. It's familiar terrain, something I've heard over and over again, speaking with students, staff, and instructors around the country and the world. But I find hope and joy in Mackenzie's final ruminations. I have no answers. I will redo this class this summer somehow. I'm not going to do blue books or oral exams or any of the other retro solutions. I'm going to bring together some faculty and staff to talk about humanistic approaches. I will have more conversations with students. I already feel better having articulated some of my values and sources of anger. I will remember that this is just my job, that I'm getting paid to do it. I will continue to make bad art and start seeds and mend clothing and read whole books in the sunshine. I'm giving you permission to be bad at something, to start seeds, to mend, to read in the sunshine. My father, Allah Yerhamhum, was defined by his work, by his process. And that was and still is his greatest gift to me and my sisters. I'm going to find joy, not in streaming Netflix or training a model on a data center that's poisoning my mom, but in working in my server rack, reveling in the process, one bug at a time. Thank you for the honor and privilege of letting me speak to you, class of 2026. Congrats and go Bears.
Thank you, Dr. Hanna, for that powerful and thought-provoking address. Every one of our graduates here has accomplished a great deal, but we set aside this time to acknowledge some of their special achievements. I'd like to call our award and prize winners to the right side of the stage. To present the awards, I call upon Professor Danya Lagos.
Hello, everyone. Each year, the department honors an outstanding graduating senior for overall accomplishment in sociology. This is the highest award we give to an undergraduate student. The fantastic committee has worked hard and looks especially at every paper and every thesis submitted by qualified students. And they also look at the general scholarship and demonstrated excellence throughout the student's entire career at Berkeley. This year's winner is Joanna Mallory Ugalde. Joanna's thesis is to pool or not to pool, financial arrangements, conflict, and relational stability in intimate partnership. I'd also like to recognize Annabelle Kang, who received honorable mention for their exceptional thesis entitled Gangs with Badges: How Deputy Gangs in the Los Angeles County's Sheriff's Department Evade Accountability. And now for our Outstanding Graduate Student Instructor Awards. Teaching at Berkeley is a partnership between professors and graduate student instructors, who we call GSIs for short, and others call TAs or teaching assistants. A common arrangement is for professors to lecture twice a week, and for GSIs to meet with students an equal number of times in smaller classes to discuss course materials. GSIs also work with students to plan research papers, prepare for exams, and more. Berkeley has many of the finest GSIs in higher education, and I know that each of the graduating seniors will remember one or more outstanding GSI from their years at Berkeley. Each year, the department and the university recognize a few of the best ones with the Outstanding GSI Award. This year, we are honoring 3 students whose names appear in the program. We are happy that 2 of our awardees are here today. And so I will call their names, and then please come forward as I call your name. Tiffany Hamajaya. And Zhuhang Zhang. Each year, we also give prizes for academic work by graduate students in our department and honor the winners at graduation. In addition to the prestige of the recognition, these prizes include a modest stipend. The Herbert Bloomer Prize. This prize is given annually in memory of the founder of our department, Herbert Bloomer. It is given to the best paper written in a field of Professor Bloomer's interests, which included race, collective behavior, and symbolic interactionism. This year's winner is David Su for the paper entitled Gaming the Algorithm: Tactical Innovation and Collective Action in China's Platform Economy. Congratulations, David. Come. David's paper carries Herbert Bloomer's tradition forward with striking originality. He develops the concept of algorithmic literacy to capture the interpretive skill gig workers accumulate as they read, probe, and outmaneuver the systems designed to discipline them, and shows that literacy travels through peer networks, eventually scaling up into coordinated disruption during strikes. By foregrounding the situated micro-interactional processes through which the collective behavior takes shape, David renews symbolic interactionism for the algorithmic age.
Thank you, Professor Lagos. We now come to the heart and soul of today's event, the awarding of degrees. We start today with the PhD, our highest degree. Today, we will honor 7 scholars who have earned our highest degree, the doctorate in philosophy. For each of our PhDs, the road to the doctorate has been an impressive journey. Each has completed several years of graduate coursework, researched and written a master's thesis, taken oral examinations, and ultimately embarked on a major original research project. The project was then carried out and analyzed in a dissertation that can run anywhere from 200 to 500 or more pages. The title of each graduate's PhD dissertation is published in the program. The PhD is symbolized by the colored hood of the Doctor of Philosophy. You'll notice that all of the faculty members have such a hood. The colors on the hood signify the degree and university from which we graduated. Today, each newly minted PhD will receive the blue and gold hood of UC Berkeley from their dissertation committee chair or another faculty member. We now begin the conferral of the Doctor of Philosophy degrees. Professor Martine Sanchez-Jankowski will hand out the scrolls. Our first recipient is Nadia Almasalki. Irene Bloomrad, chair, hooded by committee member Susan Hyde. The title is Voting in Exile, Voting in Place: How Destination Contexts Shape Diaspora Electoral Mobilization in the United States, Canada, and the United Arab Emirates. Hero Ashman. Danya Lagos and Christopher Muller, co-chairs, hooded by Danya Lagos. Family Formation and the Racial Division of Reproductive Labor, Evidence from the Great Migration, 1910 to 1940. Xavier Alexander Durham. Policing while policed, negotiating reentry and security work in California, and I am his chair. David Joseph Gotteiner. Heather Havman, chair, hooded by Heather Havman and committee member Calvin Morrill. Time and money well spent, the moral economy of platform work. Kelly Quinn. Neil Fligstein, chair. power and precarity in the fissured workplace, unions, firms, and the restructuring of employment in the United States. Emily Holly Ruppel. Leslie Salzinger and the late Michael Borovoy, co-chairs, hooded by Leslie Salzinger. Capitalizing on disability, labor process and governance in disability employment programs. Jasmine M. Sanders. Heather Havman, Chair. Partying to Promotion, an examination of work-sponsored social activities and career returns. Okay, let's have a final round of applause for our new PhDs. We also confer the master's degree. The MA is significant in that it requires original research prior to the student embarking upon a project of the scope of a dissertation. And the hope is that a student's MA research will be the basis of their first academic publication. Today we recognize 3 recipients of the degree of Master of Arts. MA grads, please come forward when I call your name. Elena Marilyn Amaya. Miriam Dombrowski. Raquel Zitani Rios. Let's have a round of applause for the MA graduates. And now it is the turn of the undergraduates. I call upon my colleagues to assist in reading the names and distributing the scrolls. Professors Joanna Reed and Luis Flores will read the names of the graduating seniors. Professors Marina Romani and Jill Bakhorn will hand out the commencement scrolls. Professors Joanna Reed and Lale Bebahanyan will be giving out the gold cords to the honors students. We will be using the aisles for this part of the ceremony. Will the first row of candidates please stand up and line up in the aisle to your right? Everyone else, please remain seated, as it's important to keep the aisles clear.
Yiming Xu. Yiling Xiao. Ziu Chen. Natalie Franco. Julio Adrián Cedillo. Marilyn Gloria Navarro Sanchez. Alondra Rodriguez Gregorio. Martha Patricia Herrera Curiel. Ashley Jasmine Cervantes. Isabella Montaño Ponce. Anita Almanza. Kaylin Santelices. Jasmine Dawn Cooley. Jonathan Conrique Retana. Valeria Hernandez. Mateo Ruben Bray. Gabriela Lara Ariola. Karina Jose. Leah Bass. Estefany Carrasco. Adamares Yarargui. Samantha Rocha Ventura. Ona Manero Gomez. Sarah Rado. Sophia Ramalingam. Unvi Abhijit Gaikwad. Sarah Landsberg. Sofia Montesinos. Danielle Lopez. Elise Leva Gonzalez. Linley Parra. Ellie Diener. Tristan Brown. Mahina Shinagawa. Anthea Tang. Chelsea Ling. Joshua Chow. Charlize Singh. Christian Jacob Malonzo de la Cruz. Luca Duggett. Vivian Lin. Alba Navas. Diego Trejo. Micah Rudin. Annette Oganisan. Mingri Hu. Christina Aguilar. Alasne Garabi Ramos Flores. Scott Oberholzer. Otto Oliping. Mitsuki Hori. Saki Sanada. Miriam Teresa Perez Pablo. Jocelyn Gomez. Evelyn Paz. Marta Yesenia Banda. Juliet Reish. Alexandra Romero. Kalena Mashing. Andrew Guzman. Leonexi Guzman Bayot. Jenny Juan Son. Isabella Renee Barba.
Catherine Hedrick. Leun Lynn Tergel, Goldberg. Nina Un Winton. Evelise Mara Ganson. Ella Carter Couchy. Genevieve Bukhari. Heidi Guisar Valdez. Sil Lee. Alexia Alarcón Rios. Nora Alfonso. Elisha Pador. Simran Langoria. Jessica New Chow. Maria Flores Becerra.
Chloe Ann Domingo. Raya Hussein. Yoreni Hernandez. Isabel Marie Valdez. Aaliyah Kim. Jessica Skeva. Samantha Marie Pineda. Fernanda Rosales. Haben Ababa Mognes. Yatsiri Flores. Bianca Eileen Garcia. Naomi Ortiz. Emily Barrios Cruz. Charlie Nguyen. Jasmine Celedon. Alicia Valenciana. Sabrina Torres. Sky Esther Buga, sorry. Chia Nguyen. Caitlin Pham. Naomi Tran. Jacqueline Teles Basulto. Nishta Yogesh Walland. Savannah Rodriguez Kendig. Irene Vinson. Bianca Chu. Janice Joy Frias Atensa. Jayla Michelle Gero. Parker Paisley Pugh. Maddie Kirk. Kaya Clementi. Catherine Flowers. Sierra Reed. Jazeri Thompson. Amina Todd. Kennedy Loren Taylor. Lucia Luna Ukemi Martinez. Cassandra Pai Song. Ava Sin. Peter Beck. Genevieve Toji. Stella Zhang. Kimberly Kate Purett. Sumika Naim. Yiming Feng. Anais Shergill. Princess Emily Garcia Soto. Frida Diaz Martinez. Kai Steiner. Juan Saldana Lucayo. Nichelle Wong. Eileen Ta. Philip Yoon. Sienna Ameyali Morenos Valdorinos. Jocelyn Espinosa. Quetzali Anaí Berumen Ponce. Dulce Isabel Hernández. Cindy Joanna Cisneros Barajas. Jimena Flores Perez. Zachary William Jessner. Ikra Akram. Hina Saito. Taylor Caprialian. Valeria Reyes. Socorro Lopez Frasco. Rachel Trinity Lynn. Sayan Chavira. Jasmine Herrera Ramos. Alicia Nguyen. Emily Singh. How do you say it? Luciano Andruchetti. Tori Anderson. Josh McCormick. Daisy Jimenez. Destiny Norte Reynolds. Mónica Anaí López. Sharif El-Saker. Leslie Rodriguez. Chuyong Chu. Selma Redsick. Mindy Ning. Alexander Quiros. Jeffrey Wilk. Angel Llamas. Cheyenne Cherise Franklin. Saba Yasseri. Alicia Williams Ledoux. Jalissa Ontiveros. Jalissa Ontiveros, sorry. Charity Lawrence. Marilyn Ida Garcia. Kalea Easterly. Huguet Silva. And Oswaldo Flores. Oswaldo has successfully completed his studies as the first person to ever graduate from UC Berkeley while incarcerated. Although he can't be with us, Although he can't be with us today, we'd like to recognize him for his enormous achievement. And now, will the senior honors candidates please stand in line on the aisle to your right. So this year, we're conferring degrees on 30 honors students. These students participated in a year-long honor course in which they conducted their own research projects and wrote up their findings in an honors thesis. Their instructors tells us these projects are fascinating and of high quality. Some have been encouraged to pursue publication of their work. Their thesis titles are listed in the graduation program. I would like to invite the honors instructors, Professor Joanna Reed and Lale Bebe Haninen, to join me to award each honor student a gold honor cord for their accomplishments. Jillian Chantel Davidson. Darren Gaines. Mar Guadalupe Rivas. Ana Sofia Diaz. Xiaoyu Fan. Noah Kuhn. Mina Alvarado Goldberg. Amelia Mansour. Miguel Ribal Monzon. Evan Alexander Mack. CJ Miles. Lily Gerkevitz. Courtney McIver. Mónica Durano Ornelas. Lynn Choi. Joanna Melody Ugalde. Carla Vicencio Ramirez. Esmeralda Nuno Mora. Noemi Soraya Aguilar. Franny Daughters. Audrey Tam. Maima Shino. Sally Meeks. Derek Tonell. Kimberly de la Cruz. Annabelle Kang. Eleanor Ruby Dalton. Henry M. Goldberg. Ugo Lee.
Now for an age-old symbol of passage. When tasseled caps were standard academic apparel, undergraduates wore their tassels on the right. Graduates wore them on the left. Bachelor's graduates, please put on your caps with the tassels on the right. Now, leaving your tassels on the right, stand and face your families, friends, and honored guests. Switch your tassels from right to left now. I present to you the fantastic class of 2026. And now, to bring this momentous occasion to a close, I turn the ceremony over to one of our most beloved professors and recipient of this campus's Distinguished Teaching Award, Professor Lale Bebahanian.
love you. I love you all so much. Aw. So thank you, Dave. And let me begin by thanking all our speakers today. Dr. Hanna, thank you so much for being with us. It is an honor to share the stage with you today. Thank you to our undergraduate speaker, Vivian Lin. Thank you so much. And our graduate student speakers, who I am thrilled to now address as Dr. Xavier Durham and Dr. Emily Rupel. So, graduates, we're all gathered here to celebrate you, and my role in concluding this ceremony is to acknowledge and thank all the people who have made this possible. All the people who have invested their labor and love into helping you make it here today. And I'm going to begin with our brilliant faculty whose devotion to teaching inspires and brings out the best in our students. And just as crucial to our teaching mission, our graduate student instructors, your amazing GSIs. There is no overstating the crucial role you all play in teaching and supporting our students, and we are so deeply grateful to you for that. Thank you. So, when we all come together, we transform our classrooms into magical spaces where we dissect all the problems of the world and carve out possibilities for a better future. But we can never take for granted that these magical spaces we inhabit together exist inside a massive institutional bureaucracy. And their existence is only made possible by the work of our credible staff who help us navigate that bureaucracy every day. So I want to take a minute and acknowledge and thank all our staff whose work may not always be visible to you, but without whom none of this would be possible. So, and I want to actually introduce you to them all, after which I'm going to ask you to join me in again in a big round of applause. So, beginning with our Director of Student Services, Ann Myers, who oversees so much of the work of our department. The great magician, Rebecca Chavez, who organizes all our curriculum and schedules all our classes. And it's Noah Barrientos, who manages all the daily operations of our department. Holly Lay, who keeps our finances in order. Chantel Mitchell, who guides all our faculty through their academic personnel cases. Erin Dubois, who maintains our computers, and Tamar Young, who supports us all in countless ways. And it's Jenny Cornett Carrillo and her team, Louise Hahn, Shannon Buckley-Shackley, Emily Normiel, and Bridget Lair, who run our globally renowned international program, bringing a rich diversity of international students into our classrooms and ensuring that the knowledge we share together here in Berkeley gets projected back with them all across the world. And of course, your beloved undergraduate advisors, Christina Rojas and Seng Saley. Christina and Sang deal with every crisis, concern, and challenge that arises for our students, personally watching over each and every one of them through their academic journeys. And it's Catherine Norton and Amy Asik who do that for our graduate students. It's the support they provide that makes this department year after year after year the #1 sociology program in the country. So these are all of the people who invest their labor and care into our department every day, and they have been working tirelessly on planning and organizing today's ceremony. So everyone, please join me in a round of applause for our amazing staff. So, graduates, all these people I've just named, we get up every day and we give our best. And we do so because we believe in you. And every graduation is a special occasion, but today feels extra special because you, the class of 2026, have achieved something exceptional. Not only have you shown all the hard work and determination it takes to graduate from UC Berkeley, but you've done so under unprecedentedly difficult conditions. The challenges that you faced in these past years have been enormous, but through them all, you have persevered and made it here today. And out of those extraordinary challenges, you have carved out extraordinary possibilities. Always remember and carry that with you, so that when life presents you with challenges that feel insurmountable, remember this moment and know that you will rise to that challenge. So let me conclude the acknowledgments of those who have made today possible by finally getting to the most crucial one of all. To all of you parents and families and loved ones, all of you who have traveled to be here today, and all of those who are with us in spirit. We thank you for all the work, sacrifice, struggle, and love you have poured into making today possible. So graduates, join me in the biggest round of applause of all for all of your parents and family. And And finally, I want to especially acknowledge all of you first gens. Those of you who have fulfilled the dream of being the first in your families to graduate from college. Can all of you first gens please stand so that you and your families can be recognized for this achievement? So let me now finally bring this ceremony to a close by speaking to you graduates on behalf of all of us who have gathered here to honor you. We are so deeply proud of you. We are proud of the education that you have worked so hard to attain. Now we want you to take that education out into the world and do 3 things with it. Use it to provide for and take care of yourselves and your families. Use it to be of service to people and your communities. And finally, never forget what makes you sociologists and use it to fight like hell for a better world. Congratulations, class of 2026. So now we really do bring this ceremony to an end. The faculty will now recess row by row through the 2 middle aisles. The graduates will follow after the faculty, and audience members, please remain seated until the last graduates have left the auditorium.